Hi everyone, my name is Holly, and I have probably the most exciting book outlet haul I have ever done. I am so hyped for every single title that I have here. I could literally just crawl into this box and read all of these books right now. But that's not what we're here to do today. The box is very large and that would literally take me years. This video is sponsored by Book Outlet, so if any of these interest you, you can click my vlogger friend link down below and get these for yourself. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of this video because I will be inserting all of these books into my shelves so you know exactly where they'll be going. So I'm going to start with the sci-fi first because they are literally laying right on top. I have 3 sci-fi here. Like, who even am I? Or should I start with the fantasy because, oh my god, some of these fantasy books I'm so excited for. No, we'll start with sci-fi. Let's change things up. There's a total of 7 books here. Most of them are hardcover and it was under $40. Insane. And that first sci-fi is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruccio. I was so hyped to see this book on there. I've had this book on my Amazon wish list for so long. I always find it so annoying when sci-fi takes place on Earth and we don't get to explore outer space. It totally takes away from that sci-fi experience. Well, that's not what this book is. Many reviewers have stated that this is an epic science fiction space opera. The universe that this takes place in is huge. It's written like an autobiography and we are immediately introduced to our main character Hadrian and we get to explore outer space with him as he goes on many adventures. He's the first son of a noble family and he is supposed to follow in his father's footsteps. The only problem is Hadrian is his own man and he wants a different life. He wants to explore the cosmos. But of course, after leaving home, his life takes a very unexpected turn with many twists. Even living in poverty on a foreign planet many light years away at one point. I am so hyped for this. There are just too many books I want to read right now. I want to read this right now. And then I have A Memory Called Empire by Ricardi Martin. This is yet another adult sci-fi. A very hyped sci-fi, I should say. This book has gotten so much love ever since its release. The plot concerns a new ambassador from a tiny political entity, basically a space station, arriving in the Galactic Empire's capital city. But she gets sabotaged right off the bat. She has to rapidly learn what's going on within the imperial politics, as well as try and save her space station. She also has to solve a freaking murder mystery. Also, the story apparently involves being able to save memories and implant them into others, which totally reminds me of the video game Remember Me, which is one of my all-time faves. Fantastic video game if you haven't played it, I highly recommend. And I believe this is a hard sci-fi, I could be wrong on that, but nonetheless, I am super excited. And then I have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Sterling. I actually have an ebook of this, but when I spotted it for $4 on Book Outlet, I could not pass it up. I love the idea of horror sci-fi, and that's what this is. The story is set on a planet where the only way of getting out is risking your life by crawling through these cave systems. Enter our main character Gear, who desperately wants to get out of this crappy planet. She begins her expedition and begins to descend into this planet so she can get out, and the only lifeline that she really has is her radio, which on the other end is our other main character, who I'm assuming is basically telling her how to get out. This sounds like one hell of an atmospheric read. It sounds very claustrophobic and I'm so pumped about that. A very odd thing to be excited about, but I am. Alrighty, so now we're moving on to my favorite, fantasy, and the first one I have here is actually a dragon fantasy because I couldn't help myself. Dragon Slayer, one word by the way, by Duncan M. Hamilton. I had to keep the tradition alive, okay? I needed to include a dragon fantasy. The story begins with a dragon waking up for the first time after thousands of years, and he wakes up to find all of his brethren, including his mate, dead. He has no idea how long he's been asleep, but he is not happy. He proceeds to do what every classic medieval dragon does, and that's wreak havoc amongst villages, basically. Is my name written on here or something? Because that sounds like it's made for me. Leave it to our main character Gullet, who has alcoholic depression, to save the empire. I love that sound of that classic medieval plotline, and it sounds like it's going to be fun. It sounds very humorous. Also, it's incredibly short, which I was not expecting. I know there are 2 other books, and the 3rd one comes out later this year, so if I enjoy this, I definitely won't mind buying the other ones because these covers are so cool. The next book I have here is For the Killing of Kings by Howard Andrew Jones. I'll be honest, This was purely a cover buy. This is the first book to a new epic fantasy trilogy that came out last year, actually. It actually begins with our main character finding out that this famous sword is fake. Like, why is that so important? Well, this blade is apparently prophesized that it will one day take the life of a king from a neighboring land. And if it gets out that the sword is fake, I mean, I feel like that's a lot of drama just waiting to happen. The author on Goodreads compared this to Three Musketeers, and that just sounds so rad itself, but then I heard a reviewer say so much homosexuality, and I'm intrigued. So I have 2 books left, and the next one is a big boy. Cold Iron by Stina Light? Oof, probably got that wrong. A female adult fantasy writer. Again, adding to my very small collection of that. We're fixing this problem every single video, it seems. The Goodreads rating for this? Garbage. But is that going to stop me? Absolutely not. This is the first book to a military fantasy with elements of steampunk, which totally makes sense since there are guns on the cover. The story takes us to the Kingdom of Eldor, where they are known for their magical abilities. Bring in our main character, Prince Nels, who has never showed any talent for magic, which is a sore blow in itself, but things become worse when he is forced to become a common soldier, which really makes his noble family look bad. This totally reminds me of Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell, by the way. And I loved that book, so I mean, maybe I'll like this too. This is a story full of warfare, political intrigue, and swashbuckling adventure. Also nearly 700 pages. It's thick, but we don't fear thick books around here. Also, I just adore that spine. So good. And the final book I have in this haul is Ironfoot by Dave Duncan. I saw this book on Book Outlet. I have never heard of it before. I have never seen it before. And honestly, what caught me is this line: medieval magic, murder, mayhem, with an exclamation point. And the covers for all 3 books in this series are bloody beautiful, and it's like an alchemist table. Such awesome aesthetic. This book takes place in 1164. It takes place after the Norman conquest of England. The tale follows 2 students, Saxon and Norman, from sage school all the way to this castle where the sage mysteriously has died, leaving the 2 students in charge of solving the murder. This just sounds like pure fun. Like, I cannot wait to read this. It sounds like a medieval murder mystery yet again. Book Outlet had book 2 as well, so if I go into this and I end up loving it, I do not mind getting book 2. I'm gonna get on that purchase immediately. So here's my lovely stack of books, and I think I will be mostly putting them on this shelf here. As you can tell, I have a lot more room here. The other shelves are very, very full. So Empire of Silence, I'm going to put directly beside Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. It just makes sense to me. They're both sci-fi, and they both have purple spines. Dragon Slayer will go beside Rage of Dragons because they are both dragon books, so it makes sense to me. For the Killing of Kings, I'm going to put just directly beside Dragon Slayer and Rage of Dragons as well. I think the spines together will look really cool once I flip them. A Memory Called Empire I'm just going to put up here with the other sci-fi. And Cold Iron I'm going to put all the way to the right. Going up a shelf, I'm going to put the Luminous Dead up here with the shorter sci-fi, as in like the shorter paperbacks. And then finally, I have Ironfoot. I'm actually going to put this beside The Last Mile in Cinder City because I actually really want to pick this book up really soon, so it'll be really satisfying to flip. Alrighty, so those are all the books I bought from Book Outlet. Again, if you are interested in any of these, click the link in my description box down below and go to my vlogger friend page and get yourself some books. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up because it helps me so much. Go ahead and subscribe. I upload videos every single week. Follow me on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece. And until we meet again, happy reading.